Hello America, it's me again, here to tell the story of baby number 2, my son, Asher Dale.
This is little Asher Dale. He was born on November 21st, 2019. He was 8 pounds, 8 ounces. And this is the story of how he came into the world. But now he's gonna go hang out with his dad because he's getting a little fussy. So I'll just start from the beginning. My due date at this point is November 19th.
Meg was convinced she was gonna go early for no other reason than she had it set in her mind that she was gonna go early.
Lena came exactly on her due date, and so I was expecting Asher to come early. That's what everyone told me, was the second one comes even earlier and even faster, but nope, actually turned out went past my due date. My next appointment was November 20th.
So we went in on the 20th. We're talking to the OB. Meg was pretty discouraged at this point.
Just like with Lena, I really wanted to try to do everything as natural as possible, so I really didn't want to be induced. So my OB was on board with that, and she was like, well, how do you feel about me stripping your membranes? And I had never had that done with Lena. I was like, okay, yeah, we can try it. We left the appointment. It was about 3:45 at that point. And then probably 20 minutes later, I started having contractions.
Between like 9 and 10, Meg just really started feeling them coming on, and they were getting a lot more regular. But of course she was, you know, do we go, do we not? What do you think? Because we don't want to go too early and have them, send us away.
And so we went to bed. Tony fell asleep, of course, within like 30 seconds, because for some reason guys have that magical ability to just fall asleep as soon as their head hits the pillow. At this point, my contractions are so intense that I couldn't get any rest. About an hour goes by, and then I wake Tony up and I'm like, hey, like, there's still no pattern to these contractions, but I just know what they feel like, and I think it's time to get my mom over here so that she can be with Lena, and I think we need to go to the hospital. We head to the hospital, we get there around midnight.
After they got the IV started, asked her a million times if, she wanted to get an epidural, or, if that was something that she wanted to do, which Meg didn't do any kind of drugs or epidural with Lena, so she really, wanted to do the same thing this time. Meg's kind of, at a standstill, so like, well, at this point, you can get up, walk around.
We walked that little hallway for who knows how long.
We're doing laps. Every now and then we'd come in, she'd bounce on the ball.
The nurse comes in, does another cervical check. I'm like 6 centimeters dilated, like barely moved at all. And I was just like, okay. She asked me, she's like, do you want to get back up? You want to do some more like laps around the hallway? You want to bounce on the ball? I was like, no, like I'm just really tired. I just kind of want to like be in the bed for a little bit.
And that's when things kind of went crazy.
Right around 7 centimeters, a switch flips. I went from this like calm zen, like, okay, I'm breathing through the contraction, this is fine, to then all of a sudden just this crazy woman. Poor Tony, honestly. Oh my gosh, bless his heart. I have the sweetest husband.
The labor this time was much more intense, much more painful, uncomfortable, and Meg was feeling it. She was making all sorts of crazy noises that I hardly even recognized. She sounded like a yodeler mixed with like a Wookiee, like Chewbacca from Star Wars, mixed with like Tarzan animal, just bellows and yelps.
With Lena, all of my contractions were like I had time in between them all to catch my breath. But with Asher, I did not have that at all. My contractions were like the rolling contractions, to where it just went from one contraction to the next to the next. So it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm dealing with these contractions all while being so exhausted on top of it. So I was not handling it well at this point.
She had a death grip on my hand, so I could barely let go of her hand. She was kind of in her zone, but she was just in a lot of pain.
And at that point, I had just stalled. Like, I was probably 7-8 centimeters for a few hours, and so I was getting so mad.
Like every half hour, 45 minutes or so, she was just like, oh my gosh, she's like, this is just so painful, this is so painful. And then it got to the point where she started looking at me and she's like, you need to do something. Obviously I'm a nurse, and so I think in her mind she was like, you're a nurse, we're in a hospital, you need to make things happen.
And I started begging for an epidural. I need it, give me all the drugs. I can't do this, I don't know what I was thinking. But at that point I was already so far along. Tony was like, it's just gonna slow things down. You can do this, you've done it before. At this point I was like, cut him out. Take me in for a C-section, I don't care, just get this baby out of me. At one point I look at Tony and I'm like, I need you to go get the doctor. Figure out where she's at. They said they called her, she's not here, I need you to go get her. So at that point Tony kind of like rolled his eye. He's like, there's nothing I can do about that. Like, here, have some ice chips.
Basically trying to just show Meg like, hey, like, I hear what you're saying and I'm gonna do something about it, even though it's not gonna make this baby come any faster.
Finally, the doctor gets there. She comes in, she breaks my water. She basically tells me I need to calm down.
Meg's kind of in her own little world, and Dr. Yala kind of looks at her and she's like, hey, you know, and she's like, you gotta save your strength, you know, the mountain, you're just climbing up the mountain, we still gotta get to that peak.
And of course, like, I didn't listen. I just continued to be obnoxious and loud. But honestly, when you're in labor, all humility and modesty, it just all goes out the window. I was just in so much pain that if screaming was what made me feel better, then I was gonna scream. Sorry to all Riverside personnel. I was not at my best that day.
Amidst all of the go get the doctor, I need you to do something talk, she's sitting, you know, the bed's elevated up. Meg's sitting basically face down on the bed with her neck essentially on the top of the bed, and she's like almost asleep. I'm like, you gotta raise up a little bit, like, you know, because you're like cutting off your air supply. And she's like, I can't breathe, I need some oxygen, where's the oxygen?
So I'm laying on my side, and I will never forget, I knew the instant I hit 10 centimeters, because all of a sudden it was just like, there's a head right there and it's coming out. All the nurses are like, you need to open your eyes, you need to take control of this pain, you need to calm down because the baby's oxygen is dropping. The whole time I'm like, yeah, no one's gonna get me oxygen, but this is fine. Finally, I pushed, and with Lena, I think I pushed for like 2 seconds and she just came right out and it was fine. But with Asher, he got stuck a little bit, probably because he was a whole pound bigger than Lena.
He started coming, and it kind of got to that point where, you know, we could see his head, and first thing I saw was, you know, just big tuft of hair. You know, I figured he'd be pretty hairy. Lena was born with quite a bit of hair, and same thing with Asher.
Our little baby boy is here. He's perfect. Everything. I just feel like this flood of like relief come over me. They put him on my chest. We're doing skin to skin. Tony's there. We're both crying. I mean, I'd been crying this whole time, but now I have my son on my chest, so it's happy tears instead of painful tears.
Very emotional. Everything around us kind of disappeared. You know, all the hustle and bustle and everything around us. But you know, as soon as he came out, it was kind of that moment where it was just me, him, and Meg. I cut the cord and did all that, but it was just, you know, just one of those magical moments that only people who have been through it can really understand. I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I bet this staff is just so happy that, like, you know, this baby's out so they can stop dealing with my crazy wife.
I'm trying so hard to just like be in our happy little baby bubble, but at the same time, I still have to deliver a placenta. Childbirth is insane, honestly. Like, we're freaking warriors. I just can't even wrap my head around it, and I've done it twice, and it still just like blows my mind. We're not having any more kids, but if we were, I would be like, yep, I want all of the drugs, please, thanks.
I guess I'll address the elephant in the room now. Now that I'm a father of 2, I did take on the responsibility and the birthright of growing a mustache, as you guys can see. Much to Meg's dismay. So at first Meg didn't really like it at all. Now, you know, we're close to like a month after Asher was born, after she's kind of seen me wear it, and she's kind of, you know, gotten used to seeing it there. Now she really hates it. The feeling has not changed. In fact, it's intensified. Until next time, America, this is your friendly neighborhood Tony checking out. See ya when I get a puppy one of these days.
See, bye.
I saw you standing there, sandy blonde hair, the way it came tumbling down, just like a waterfall. And if you need a light, I'll be the match to your candle, my darling. I'm ready to burst into flames for you. I was just coasting till we met. You remind me just how good it can get. Well, I've been on fire dreaming of you. Tell me you don't, it feels like you do. Looking like that, you'll open some wounds. How does it start and when does it end? Only been here for a moment, but I know I want you. But is it too soon to know that I